Hello. Some people have said that they would prefer if this series had commentary, so I thought I would try that out. And right off the bat, things to talk about here. That thing you just saw where I didn't take fall damage, that's not cheating or anything, that just works somehow. So anyway, immediately right off the bat, this episode gets pretty tricky. You might think that carrying Joe on the train car thing would be very easy, because he would just move with it, of course. Logically, right? No, he just doesn't. He'll just slide off. Unless you can get him to be situated right in front of these little square notch thingies that you see on the back of the train. But I also have to carefully reposition where Joe is around that turn, because he'll just get crushed, like, magically. It doesn't make any sense, but that's just how it is. And then there's a bit of footage that got lost here, unfortunately, but I just leave Joe on the train car in that location, and then just walk over to this place. There he is. He accidentally ended up hitting the turning sign thingy, whatever that is. I don't know what the word for that is. The thing doesn't even make sense. Like, what even is it? I don't know. I've never understood that. I don't know why that crab made the biting sound, but it didn't actually hit me. I'm not sure how that happens. Maybe it's like a sideways edge bug kind of thing? I don't know. And again, this part here was really tricky. This was this one map was probably the majority of the time I spent working on this video, because it's just so finicky and so precise. If Joe falls in the water here, there's no way to get him out. And of course, if he touches the middle bit, he gets shocked. And he'll die, like, instantly. I try to do this series kind of like unscripted, but this chapter had to be segmented a lot, because it's just so easy for Joe to die. Some kind of thing happened here. I don't really know what. Anytime Joe was around a spinning thing, it's just, he almost always dies, but miraculously somehow he survived this time. It's even worse around these parts that have you know, like lines intersecting and diverging, because it's just like, it's just really difficult to keep Joe from going into the middle. So in this case, we just go around it. A weird little quirk of Half-Life that you just saw there. When a head crab goes through a level transition, while it's jumping, it just gets another free jump instantly. It's kind of weird. Sometimes you have to be careful for that, because it'll surprise you otherwise. Nice. And since we're not above electrified water anymore, it's just not really worth taking the train car, because it's just so easy to crush Joe.
Minor lacerations detected. Minor lacerations detected. Minor lacerations detected. Blood loss detected. Mission depleted.
I don't remember that being that loud. Can you just cooperate, Joe? So annoying. Thank you. Normally I try to not take damage when I'm doing this ladder thing, but in this case I found it very hard to keep Joe on my head for this first part of it here, so I just let him damage me. So an explanation for how this trick works. When headcrabs are doing the attack that they do, the game's just like, it's looking for when a headcrab is in the air, and it's doing it's flagged as doing its jumping attack. But part of that is that it won't do the damage if it's on the ground. Except it doesn't have to be like specifically on the ground. It just has to be resting on top of something. So if you can touch the headcrab, this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. I don't feel like I can adequately explain it without the code to show you. Basically, when it touches something, it looks to see if it's on the ground. And the way that it determines if it's on the ground is, if I remember correctly, it just looks to see what's like a quarter of a unit below it. And if the player is counting as the ground for it before it touches the headcrab, then you just don't get damaged. But if you move up on the ladder very fast like I was doing earlier, then that will count as damage.
Vital signs critical.
At this point, I have to start being really careful about being hit by the head crab, because I'm very low health. This part here was especially weird and scripted. Like, every one of these jumps and stuff that I'm doing right now was planned out very carefully. And yeah, from here, the rest of the video is pretty predictable. Let's see. That was 22 recordings. Most of the other episodes didn't even reach 10 recordings, but this one was just so difficult. And the first one was August 8th at... Wait a minute. No. The first one was August 7th at 11:30 p.m. And the last one was August 9th at 10:41 a.m. So yeah, this took a bit longer than expected.
Minor lacerations detected. Lacerations detected.
Okay,